How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the corner. I am the DM as always, and today, now, Earth 2. It has been so long since I've heard anything about Earth 2. I have been keeping track of, like, Shane Isaac's own YouTube channel, as well as the Earth 2 YouTube channel, and they did post a few videos, but it's been a long time since they've really posted anything that I felt was notable, right? Like I did quite a few videos reacting to Shane Isaac's personal videos, and I like to think he took some of what I said to heart. It seemed like as he had put out new videos, it seemed like the way he was approaching them was, at least I'm just saying, tailored towards what I had suggested. Now, whether or not it was because of me, I don't know. But those videos did get a few hundred views. I'm just saying. I feel like maybe he took them to heart, which I'm glad he did. I'm glad he did. Now, we have one from Callum Upton. He was honestly the entire reason I did any videos covering Earth 2. And he has apparently been able to speak with Shane Isaac. I am so interested to see what's happening. Now, of course, Callum Upton is a game designer and whatnot. He knows what he's talking about when it comes to this. But I have also had this knowledge and experience bestowed upon me, and I have my own takes that I wish to put forth. Now, I love Callum Upton, and I have not seen even a second of this video. So I'm interested to see how hard he grills Shane, because that's what I expect from him. I expect him to grill Shane Isaac. So let's see what happens.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. I know, I can hardly believe it myself. We are, in fact, back for another video, talking about something we haven't spoken about.
It has been a long time since he posted, so
I believe more than 2 years now at this point, and that is, of course, the metaverse Earth 2.
Actually, you know what? I can check this personally, because let me find my videos. All right. Yeah, about 2 years since then. Yeah, that's been a while.
And you might be thinking, Callum, you haven't spoken about it in 2 years. What could possibly have happened in 2 years to warrant you making another video?
Now, from what I remember, Earth 2 touted itself as being a second Earth, like literally, where you could purchase tiles and you'd be able to generate money from them, and a lot of hokey pokey, like nonsense talk from Shane Isaac, which I debunked thoroughly.
And
so did
the
Tom.
answer to that is a lot, but also not. Bear with me, it will all make sense. But there is something that makes this video very special and a rare occurrence in the Earth 2 ecosphere. And for those who don't know what Earth 2 is, if you haven't watched my video,
this better not be leading to an Earth 2 sponsor.
Videos prior to 2 years, which I wouldn't blame you, of course. Let me give you a little TLDR on what Earth 2 was, what's happened, and where we are. Earth 2 is essentially a platform advertised as the metaverse, as Ready Player One and The Matrix. And as of 2 years ago, it was simply a map on a website where you could buy tiles with real money, like real life, you know, Earth $1, and you owned that land in the metaverse. Except there was no 3D metaverse, and you just own it on the website as essentially an image. Slowly, they added a few features to that, where you could gather resources and make digital buildings to go on there for when the 3D version of it comes out, and so on and so forth. Now, Earth 2 was advertised as a crypto kind of Web3 game. However, as of 2 years ago, absolutely nothing about the project was crypto or Web3. The buildings and tiles that you buy were not NFTs, for example, and the currency that you earned, called Essence, was not a cryptocurrency, despite them saying they were going to release a cryptocurrency called Essence. Now, you know me, I'm not a fan of NFTs, I'm not a fan of crypto, so it's whatever, right? But that's all changed recently, and it's led to some really, really interesting developments in the whole, well, the whole Earth 2 metaverse sphere, right?
Okay.
Now, I've been known as one of the biggest critics, if not the biggest critic, of Earth 2 and their business practices, their lack of transparency, their lack of clarity, in both the financials of it and also the features. There are tons of features that are advertised as coming. For example, recently one of those features we're adding raiding. No description of what raiding was. So I had multiple people tagging me from the Earth 2 community saying, what do you think about this? I don't think anything about it at that moment in time because there's literally no information on it. I'd got one person telling me it was going to be like Rust.
By the way, this is the entire reason why I've never made any recent Earth 2 videos or any videos on Earth 2 in 2 years, is because everything that's come out, there's like either little to no information on it, or there's so many people saying so many different things about what it's supposed to be. Just like when Earth 2 launched, by the way. When Earth 2 launched, people were all over the world were saying, oh, it's this, no, it's this, no, it's this, no, it's that. And it's wild. And it's wild to think that this narrative has continued where it's like, oh, this new feature is coming to the platform. Okay, what does it do? Oh, it does this. No, it does this. No, it does that. No, it does that.
Don't ask me how. I don't know. Others telling me it's going to be like 20 or 40 man raiding in World of Warcraft where we're all going to be killing a boss together. And then someone else telling me that it's essentially going to be like Raid Shadow Legends, where it's like a turn-based fight that takes a couple of days to happen, like a big battle. Again, by the way, just so you know, it released, Raiding did, on the website, you know, the 2D website. And of course, it was nothing like any of those three things.
Of course not.
Not even close. So the Earth 2 community frequently take a bucket of L's. They are holding them almost permanently at this point. And this is something I actually want to talk about.
There hasn't been a single W for Earth 2, in my opinion, ever. They've never gotten a W.
The lack of clarity and also the recent updates. Now, before we get into the rest of the video, today's video is sponsored by Into the AM. And they make these bad boys. So I've been wearing these in recent videos, and I've had them for about a month now. These t-shirts are absolutely incredible. So Into the AM, if you don't know, makes fantastic t-shirts that are incredibly comfortable, super lightweight. The printed designs on these are unlike anything I've ever had. They're not these heavy, crunchy, kind of like designs that crack if you bend and wear them too much. They're actually like really good quality, stretchy, they don't rip, they go through the wash.
And so the difference in that is the ones that have the designs where, like, when you bend them, they crack and whatnot. Those have the designs effectively glued onto the shirt. Whereas these designs are literally the shirt. They're in the shirt.
Wash and just come out as they were. The vibrancy of the colours on these prints is something that you won't find elsewhere. I own 3 of these, and if these designs aren't the sort of designs that you would wear, have no fear. Into the AM have hundreds and hundreds of cool designs, and there will definitely be something for you. So if you're looking for something cool to wear, or just looking to replace your whole wardrobe, these are a fantastic way to do that. For 3 of their basic t-shirts, it is $52.95 for 3 of them, and if you're after the graphic t-shirts like the ones I'm wearing, you can pick up 3 of them for $61.95. Which, if you ask me, is an absolute steal for the quality of these t-shirts. Check out Into the AM in the description or the pinned comment below. Let me know which designs are more your style. And once again, a massive thank you to Into the AM for sponsoring this video, you absolute legends. So, without further ado, let's get back to some metaverse madness. I posted on Twitter, because I had a lot of people telling me, oh, I bet you're not going to cover their crypto release. Oh, I bet you're not going to cover this. And then when I make a tweet regarding that, after it's not gone too well, they're all angry that I've now covered it, which to me is a little bit bewildering because you either want me to cover it or you don't. You don't get to pick when I do and don't, right? You can't say, well, it hasn't gone too well, don't cover it. But then if it has gone fantastically, say, why haven't you covered it? That's just very stupid. I think we can all agree on that. Now, I had quite a few people come forward and reach out and say, hey, I'd love to talk to you. But there is one that came forward and genuinely really surprised me. And that is Shane Issac, CEO of Earth 2. Wanted to basically answer any questions I have, and he has. So this is going to be an interesting video.
That is very interesting that he reached out to Callum to talk, right? So one thing you'll often see with people who are in the spotlight, like Shane Issac, for example, is when they reach out to like conduct an interview, they will reach out to platforms that are either sympathetic to their cause or they're a potentially sympathetic platform for their cause, right? You don't typically see them reach out to people who are vehemently against everything they are effectively trying to sell, right? So the fact that he reached out to Callum first in this manner, it says a lot. It says a lot about Shane Issac, and I'm going to say I applaud it. I applaud it because people don't do that, right? A lot of people are afraid of doing that because it can make them seem even worse, right? Because if you go to do an interview with someone who you know stands against what you're doing, right, or looks at what you're doing in a negative light, then the questions that they ask you are, generally speaking, going to be probably pretty harsh. And they're probably going to be ones that you don't want to answer, right? Or that your PR or legal team would advise you to not answer, right? So it's very much applaudable that he does this. And we should applaud him for doing this. This is a very good thing for him to do.
Let's get into the juice, shall we? The metaverse juice. So there have been rumblings in the belly of Earth 2. There have been bowel movements. And they've not all been particularly good. And of course, whenever I appear, it's usually because something has not gone to plan. You know, things have gone awry. So the first problem that has occurred has been a pretty big problem, and it's one that a lot of people have been talking about, particularly in the Earth 2 community. This is something that, for once, they actually see as a really, really big issue, and that is because it is. It's a huge issue. And that issue is that for the last 2 months, pushing towards 3 months, essentially withdrawals from the platform have been completely froze.
Well, see, I'm not a part of the Discord, so I don't know about any of this. Let me see. Update on withdrawals. Dear Earth 2 community, Earth 2 has spent over 600,000 USD in processing fiat withdrawals to date, including costs for KYC, accountant, processing fees, and so forth. This demonstrates just how important the withdrawal system is to Earth 2 and how important the service provided to our players is to us. Therefore, working on solutions when an interruption arises to such a service is of great importance. As it should be. While interruptions are often unavoidable and nobody likes them, the most important part is for us to, as a business, to be as resourceful as possible and find a solution to those interruptions. As I stated weeks ago, no matter what, we would look at and work on all contingency plans, even if temporary, within the framework we have available to us, and focus on the fastest plausible option to get things back on track. I am pleased to inform everyone that we have at least one solution so far, which will enable us to start processing withdrawals for our players again. We expect the system to be live in approximately 10 to 12 days from now. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. 2 weeks? You expect them to wait 2 weeks to withdraw their money? You want to try and hold their money hostage for 2 weeks? No. No. No, 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 no. No. I've said this before. I'll say it all the time. There comes a certain point when you have a position and you are no longer allowed to make mistakes. This is one such position. You are not allowed to make mistakes like this. Taking 10 to 12 days, 2 weeks? That is unacceptable. This was on the 21st of last month. So let's see. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So by now this should have been implemented. But this is way too much time. At most, it should have taken until Friday of that week. That is way too much time. Absolutely unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. When you're playing with this much money from your customers, no. Unacceptable. So, more specific details will be shared with our community prior to the solution going live. So please be sure to wait for those details to be released. I just wanted to let everyone know it is coming, which is good, but that is way too long. It should take 7 days max. Especially those who have been patiently waiting. Once the system is live, we will be updating players who have withdrawals pending, attending to their requests based on the order they were received. Emails will be sent out as each group is processed, and we appreciate your patience in advance as the team works through the list. For those who are curious, unofficially, we have received an indication from someone close to the source that access to a third-party system we were using was jeopardized as a result of the lead-up to the official launch of the token. So here's the thing, and here's why this doesn't surprise me. I remember back when a lot of this was in the mainstream and I was doing my videos on it. Callum did a video where when they had implemented the 3D blueprints, in order to get the blueprints, you didn't actually need to buy them because all of them were stored using a URL. And so all you had to do is go to that URL and download it. And then you had the blueprints. And it was insane. It was insane. Because I'm pretty sure that led to a lot of, like, massive duplication or some shit. Like, yeah, no. As I've mentioned in the past, there's always the risk of new complications once the token was officially launched. Yeah, but, you know, them not being able to withdraw for this long, you know, it's more than like a new complication. That's something that should be tested and ensured works before it's launched. There are so many compliance requirements for different banks and service providers. It is difficult to know where an issue might arrive when dealing with fiat. But the token is something our community wanted and something we were committed to release. We are 100% committed to this path both now and into the future. I look forward to continuing to build Earth 2 with all the necessary frameworks that enable players to play, acquire, craft, build, earn, and trade on our platform with the least amount of friction possible. Thank you. Which, good PR statement. That's what this is. Why is this a PR statement and not one, or how can I tell this is a PR statement and not one that is just from Shane, right? The way I can tell is because right here you have, while interruptions are often unavoidable and nobody likes them, the most important part is for us as a business to be as resourceful as possible and find a solution to those interruptions. That's how I know it's a PR statement. This is something that the PR team would want you to put, to sort of let everyone know that, oh yes, we understand these interruptions are very, very annoying and whatnot, but they're often unavoidable. Blah 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 blah. And here's the thing: no, they're not, Shane. They're not. Interruptions to money withdrawals are not unavoidable. Do they happen? Yes. And when they happen, it's typically because of negligence. It's not typically something that's because of something unavoidable. Saying that it's often unavoidable is saying that the things that cause them, no one can possibly control. They're things that will always happen no matter what, which is just frankly not true.
Users who have put money in used to be able to take it out. And to clarify this for people who, once again, haven't been here in the last 2 years, you put $1 onto their platform and it is converted into one Earth dollar on a $1 to $1 basis. So what you put in is what is in the platform, and that price doesn't change. It doesn't shift. It's not a speculative market. It is a one-to-one, which is currently about the only thing it's got going for it, because these were frozen and people just could not withdraw money. And as of right now, they still can't. So as I said, Shane and the Earth 2 team, they offered to talk to me.
They still can't? I do want to know how long ago he recorded this, because they should be able to. The first is the farthest point. That's the 12-day mark. We're now on the 13th day, so hope that they can, because if they can't yet, that's a problem.
Me about these problems and answer these questions, and to their credit, I have got answers out of them that the Earth 2 community haven't. This is information that a lot of it is going to be quite new,
which should not be the case. I'm gonna put this out here right now. Any information that should have been told to the Earth 2 community, but was instead saved for Callum, every single one of those is a massive penalty against Shane. I applauded him for reaching out to Callum, but if the reason why was so that he could reveal information that he has kept from the Earth 2 community when he should have shared it, each one is a massive blow. And even one removes any amount of good grace that I would have given Shane for reaching out to Callum. So any more than one, and we're going to have a very big problem.
To the Earth 2 community as well, which I think this might be the start of a bit of a paradigm shift here, where the people who have invested in Earth 2 are now going to get more clear and concise communications.
But they're not. If the information that you're about to give us is actively information that the Earth 2 community should have had, there's no paradigm shift. All this information should have been posted in the Discord. It should be available to all of the Earth 2 community before it comes to you. Before it comes to anyone else.
And more transparency. Because this is a really big step in the right direction for the Earth 2 users. So I'm going to read these questions off as I sent them to Earth 2. And to clarify, these were sent to the Earth 2 team. Most of these were answered by Shane Issac, the CEO of Earth 2.
How do we know? If they were sent to the Earth 2 team, how do we know that Shane actually was the one that answered them?
Question 1. Over the last 3 months, it's quite well known that withdrawals have been suspended and have caused issues for many trying to withdraw from the platform, Earth dollars to fiat. There is a lot of speculation as to why, some of them more creditable than others. Is this to do with the MiCA implementation? And if so, what part of the regulations are causing the delay? Now, for you guys at home, MiCA is a new crypto fiat kind of banking regulation. It is too much to go in depth in, and that would be an entire video in and of itself. But the TLDR is many countries and many banks are now having to abide by the MiCA regulation, which regulates input and output of crypto and fiat and exchange. And essentially, this is in place to crack down on the wild west that is just crypto scams.
You know what's funny about that? Is cryptocurrency is supposed to be like this decentralized currency that's free from government regulations, and now it not only exists on a centralized trading platform, but it's also using centralized banks with centralized systems for centralized money. But it's decentralized.
Web3 scams, like all of this has been rampant. It has been absolutely rampant, and everyone is aware of this, including people who support the crypto community, that they admit there are so many scams with no recourse, no liability. You're just scammed. So, and not to mention money laundering through the use of crypto to fiat and back and forth and so on and so forth. So, these regulations have been known about for the best part of a year, to be honest, and everyone who knows that they are going to have to abide by it has had plenty of time to make adjustments in preparation for the launch of Mica. So naturally, there were suspicions that this is why Earth 2 are no longer allowing withdrawals.
Which, if that's true, that clears that. That is a totally valid reason.
And there was never really a clear-cut response from the Earth 2 team. They've addressed it in a very roundabout, willy-nilly way of, we're working on getting withdrawals back up. Just hang tight. It's not our fault. It's something else kind of thing. But there's never really been a concise answer. Until today. So here's their answer. It has actually been less than 2 months, but you're right. The withdrawal subject is actively discussed in our community. There is definitely some truth to your hunch, and it's reassuring to know that you did research into this speculation, as the Mica situation has certainly been discussed within our community. To answer your question, one of our key banking partners is located in Europe and is therefore subject to the numerous regulations that Mica introduces. These regulations naturally extend to their customers, us for example. And as you know, we provide a service to our customers whereby people can buy and trade digital goods. We have also recently released an ERC20 utility token, something our player base has been actively wanting for some time. This effectively introduced a new element to our business model, which was non-existent before. And although the token is something a large number of our players really wanted, there was always the possibility its introduction may disrupt parts of the business.
Also, I'm wondering why the text is so blurry. Because it shouldn't be if it's just a screenshot. It looks like it's been like processed somehow, and the quality has been degraded.
We had built to date, such as fiat withdrawal, as there are still many discrepancies between the Web3 and fiat worlds. The ability for players to withdraw from our platform is extremely important to us, and we are dedicated to resolving the issue in any way possible. We've been actively working on a number of different contingency plans which will allow players to withdraw their funds, and we plan to provide an update in the later part of next week. One of our key goals has been to create a platform where players can trade digital items instead of only being able to buy them. And to date, Earth 2 has also processed over $22 million in withdrawals to many happy customers who have brought and traded such digital items on our platform. Okay, so many people were expecting that by this week, the withdrawals will have been resolved. Clearly, that is not going to be the case. There's going to be, at least from what they say, in the next week, an update on what is happening. And the fact that they have contingency plans for this tells me that withdrawals aren't just going to be straight up restored as they were. That's my interpretation of that message. So, for the foreseeable future, it looks like that's going to stay as is, but I'm sure in the next week, people will have more information on that and will know more about that. Now, one of my criticisms that I forgot to actually ask them in this is, I believe that if you have had to freeze withdrawals, and there's no way around that, they've had to do that because of the regulations, I believe you should have frozen deposits.
Yeah.
I don't think that's an unreasonable request to make. It seems very disingenuous to have this problem where you're able to take people's money, but you can't give it back to them. If that is the case, I would expect a company to freeze inputs and outputs.
Here's the thing. Here's my thought process, right? Obviously, Callum lives in the UK. and he's talking about UK laws and everything, and I live in the US. Um, here's my thought process, right? So they have claimed uh, that they are working on the withdrawals, and they've said absolutely nothing about the actual cause publicly, right? And now they're saying that it is part of Micah as the reason. My question is why? What makes this suspect to me is why haven't you told the Earth 2 community, right? When they're like, hey, what's going on? Why can't I withdraw? Blah, 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 blah. And there's this speculation about Micah. Why, and especially if this is supposedly Shane doing all these responses, right? Why wasn't the community told? Like, if you had just come out and said, hey, everyone in the UK, the reason why we've frozen withdrawals and not deposits, for some reason, is because of this new MICA thing. It's got a lot of regulations we have to work around. We're trying to do it. I'm not that savvy with money in this aspect, so I'm letting my team handle it. I'm very hands off in that situation because I don't have a lot of experience doing it. And so as soon as they know anything and they let me know, I will share it with you, right? That's what he should have said, or something to that effect, right? It's basically like, there's this Europe regulation. We have to freeze withdrawals and deposits. I'm not that savvy in this area, so I'm letting my team handle it. As soon as they let me know any updates, I will tell you, right? Something like that. But he didn't say that. They didn't say anything at all. Why? That's what makes this suspicious to me. Even if what they are saying is true, the way it is framed and the lack of initial transparency makes this suspect.
Not just one. And I know they didn't choose to do the second one. That is a byproduct of the MICA regulations. But playing devil's advocate here, they have had a year of knowledge of MICA. Its introduction date has been known, and companies were given quite a large amount of time to prepare for this transition.
Exactly.
And it seems that it just wasn't prepared for, which...
That's why this is so suspicious to me. Because they've known about it for so long, they've known they're going to have to do this, they know they're going to have to follow these new regulations. And rather than just let their customers and their players know, hey, there's this new regulation, blah, 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 they just hide it. That's suspicious.
That is a fault on Earth 2's part. And next up, you may remember something that Earth 2 released, or you may not, because it was such an insignificant, I know they hate this term, nothing burger of an update. EPLs, or what did they call it? Earth 2 property locators. Essentially, this in its current form is a name for your property. Now, normally, if you buy a tile of land in Earth 2, it's named A74XBY2769 or whatever, right? Just a non-readable name. Now, many people in the Earth 2 community bought these because it allowed them to name their land. It's like a human readable name, which is understandable. Now, originally, these were advertised as exactly that, along with in the game eventually, this will act as a kind of teleport mechanism to your land.
All right, hold on. Let's read this, right? The Earth 2 Property Locator, EPL, is a unique global identifier players can upgrade on their property. It provides a similar function as a URL to a website. Yet, for now, in its initial release, it is universal and more simplified. So, it's going... That's not good. You don't want it to just be a URL on a website. Oh, Lord. Let's see. The EPL allows the user to overwrite the standard cryptic identifier with a more user-friendly and discoverable word or phrase. These words or phrases are unique and therefore limited, and being universal will have a limited availability. Moving forward, EPLs can be, or will be, an integral part of the Earth 2 platform, be a key in connectivity, and will even have their own dedicated premium Earth 1 portal. Wow.
So, naturally, instead of just purchasing this with digital currency or resources in the game, which again, resources do very little to this day. You instead purchased it with real money, through some hoops with real money. And they also advertised on release that you were going to have to buy it and then pay a yearly renewal fee, almost like a domain name, to keep that name. Now,
it's exactly a domain name. That's actually the exact thing. He says it's like a domain name, but like, it literally is just a domain though, because it provides a similar function as a URL to a website. That's a domain. So they're making their players pay for the domain to host their own. That's wild.
Keep that name. Now, we'll come back to that bit about the renewal fee and whatnot in a second. There's been an issue with this that is kind of bizarre, that I feel is really weird. That
I bet if you know how it's worded, you could probably right now type into your URL like whatever would be this, right? Like earth2.com / player / then the name or whatever, right? I bet you could do that right now in the URL right now, and it would take you to someone's lot. I bet you it would.
Nobody on the Earth 2 kind of community side has ever mentioned this. And the reason is that they have likely never even noticed this problem, despite paying upfront for the EPL. And that problem is that they actually don't work. Now, in its current state, people are buying this as a way to have better visibility on their property, right? It's so much easier to advertise the sale of a tile to someone as, hey, do you want to buy Callum Land? Rather than, do you want to buy A764B321 la-di-da, jump through a hoop, whatever. So it makes sense, right? However, since day of release, or as far as we can check on the Wayback Machine, they haven't actually worked. And I mean that in the sense of, if you click a property that is named by the system, you know, that string of letters and numbers, you can click on properties, as in like what this... Oh God, this is where it gets confusing. On the property, you can click on properties to get a drop down that shows information about that property. Fine, whatever.
Okay.
However,
that should be called property details, but
if you do that on a property that has an EPL, or at this point, you know, has a name, you can't see the properties. It just errors. It just says an error occurred. And the only difference there is one has a name that you paid for and the other doesn't. And after digging into this, like a lot further with some of my friends and some of the Earth 2 community, it turns out that unless you are logged into Earth 2, you can't view properties that you purchased a name for. Now, please do correct me if I'm wrong, but if that is the only purpose right now of an EPL and it doesn't work, that's essentially like paying to advertise one of your eBay listings, but instead having your listing being shadow banned. And it gets even weirder the more you dig into it, because if you dig into the HTML code of the pages for properties, you actually find out that there are so many weird clauses that cause this error to occur that are easy fixes, by the way, like single line of code fixes, but they just never have been fixed. There are random checks. If the width of your screen is more than 750 pixels wide, but you are not logged into Earth 2, then it will just say an error occurred, and you'll have to refresh the page, and it will still say an error occurred. So then you'll have to go off the website, and then back onto the home page. So you just can't see these properties unless you are logged into Earth 2, but there's also that weird clause about screen width. I assume that's something to do with mobile, but that doesn't work either. Now, some Earth 2 community members told me that is intended, that you must be logged in. And to that I say, okay, but why do you not need to be logged in to view a property without a name? Because that just doesn't make any sense. So, but, you know, let's take their word for that. It's intended. Why doesn't it tell you?
What about, here's my question, is are those clauses in the HTML code for the other properties? Or is it something that's added? Because if it's something that's added, that's bad. If it's not something that's added, that's bad.
that you need to be logged in to view that? That would be the next question. And then beyond that would be, why? If someone who is not already in the Earth 2 community is looking at potentially purchasing a specific tile of land to get into this, you know, like, I don't know, the Statue of Liberty, which would be named, why would you make it that they have to already have an account before viewing it? Because you've now made the onboarding experience to your already difficult to onboard product infinitely more of a barrier. If I have to sign up to a game to even look into it, I'm not doing that. And neither is any gamer, because why would you do that?
Yeah, no. So, Callum has a very good point here. The more barriers to entry you put into your product, the less likely people are to even give it a try, right? And so if you put a barrier of entry literally at the earliest point, right, at the purchase of one of your tiles, no one's gonna buy it. No one's gonna care. The only people that are gonna care are the people that are already invested in the product, right? And at that point, you're not making any new money. The money that's already in there is just swapping hands. Nothing's changing, right? So what you want to do is Shane, if you see this video, Shane Isaac, the best way to do this is to make it so that, honestly, the best way to do it is to have it so that the property, literally everything, is available at the press of a button to everyone. Literally everyone. That is the best way you can advertise this kind of product. I promise you, if you do that, it will be infinitely more successful than what you're doing now.
That doesn't make sense. Well, I asked the team this, and Shane has responded. The core purpose...
Allegedly, Shane has responded. Okay, so one thing I want to point out here is that we do not see the Discord tag, because these are Discord messages. We do not see the Discord name or tag for who this is, right? And remember, Callum said that these were questions sent in to the Earth 2 team, and allegedly Shane Isaac is the one that responded.
Of the EPL, Earth 2 Property Locator, is to allow players to teleport directly to a property inside Earth 2 version 1. We understand that there are some issues with the functioning on the website. However, the EPL was introduced mainly as a feature for the E2 V1 experience, where you have an avatar and enter an EPL while inside E2 V1 and teleport directly to that property. Additionally, although EPLs have an annual fee to renew them, each year we have intentionally not charged a single penny to our players who own EPLs for this renewal fee, as we believe it should only be relevant once E2 V1 is launched and the service is active. So they haven't charged a renewal fee. Cool. People have still bought these though. This just begs the question, if it's a feature that is currently...
By the way, I'm just going to say it, if you advertise a product and say it does this, and when the customer gets the product, it does this, that is false advertising, and that is illegal in America.
Totally non-functional in its current state, in the state that you released it, and if anything is only more of a hindrance to the person who purchased it, now that people know about this inability to view it while logged out of Earth 2, why release it at all? And, I mean, the obvious answer here is money, right?
Yes.
Let's not kid ourselves. The answer is money. But it still makes no sense beyond the money argument. It's just bad practice. It is once again following the E2 trend of sell something now, introduce it later. That's a future problem. So, question mark, I don't know. And in keeping with the theme of sell something now, sort it out later, comes possibly the most baffling of launches from E2. This one was actually a meme before it happened. I didn't think this would happen, but it has.
That's not good.
E2 is now selling skins for E2. For Earth 2, they are selling skins. Now, I don't think I need to be the one to point out the problem here, because I think the problem points itself out. That problem is that there are currently no 3D avatars because there is no 3D game. This is like purchasing condiment for a meal.
By the way, so back when I did my initial videos, I talked a lot about the product flow or the flow for making a game, right? And making a game is hard. However, he had already been working on this game apparently for, I think it was like 5 years or some shit, a couple of years at least. And it's been 2 years now, and you have no 3D aspect to your game? Earth 2, here's the thing. His project is not Earth 2, it's Earth 2D.
That you've looked at on a picture in a book. You've looked at a meal in a cookbook, and someone has tried to sell you condiment for it, despite the fact the meal is not in your room. That's really bizarre to me, and it's really bizarre to, I guess, anyone looking into this, because it just doesn't make sense. It's, once again, take money for something now, worry about it later. And I'm going to be honest, I hate to be nitpicking here, but just look.
Is this supposed to be Earth 3D?
Look at the skins. They'll be on screen right now.
Oh, these are?
They are the most... Buy it off the asset store or get someone to design it once, and then just hue shift everything.
So, hang on. I'm curious about something. It's not in the Unity asset store.
Including the plastic parts of the skins and the other material parts of the skins, just make it all gold. This is the most crypto bro thing I've ever seen, the most NFT thing I've ever seen, and yeah, in case you're wondering, the launch of skins also didn't go too well. So my question was, recently multiple limited skin launches have allowed the end user to purchase more skins than are actually available. This is an issue that the team have already had to deploy a hotfix for during LAN sales. Likely not an identical fix, but the same concept. Are the limited run items still not using transactional databases despite this happening prior? And I talk about this happening prior because usually whenever Earth 2 sell land in a new country, somehow more land is sold than there actually is. We've got a duplication of people purchasing land or buying more than is actually available. And this isn't speculation before the Earth 2 community jump on me. They've admitted to that. You know it's happening, everyone else knew it happened, and they've had to rectify it after the fact.
Yes.
So there were 40 skins that were up for sale. And I can't remember the exact figure, I think it was like 145 or something. But either way, more skins sold than were available. Which, this is the only use case where them actually having them as NFTs would have made any sense, because it would have stopped that during the mint process. But they are not NFTs. It's just a pinky promise that you own that thing, and no one else does. So the things that do use crypto in Earth 2 aren't going too well, and the things that aren't using crypto should have been using crypto because that problem would have been solved. It's a headache. But Earth 2 responded to this question. We are aware of this issue, and up until last weekend, there were a few cases where the skin oversold by 1 or 2 due to high demand. For every skin drop we release, we always set aside some skins that can be earned or discovered in-game via the ecosim inside Earth 2 v1. So the oversells of 1 or 2 skins were not a big issue, so we could simply remove 1 or 2 of them from the ecosim skin number. However, last weekend, for the first time...
Which, by the way, is a huge problem, because that means you're actively making it more difficult for anyone to be able to earn it through the ecosim, and you're rewarding those that just give you money.
Ever, we had a situation where the skin did oversell in significantly higher amounts. We have spent time to investigate this issue and have found that it has occurred due to the skin being a special essence-only option, which had only 40 skins available. The sudden high demand of players purchasing the skin within the same few seconds caused our system to process it to oversell. Our developers have reviewed this issue through the week and believe they have applied a fix that will avoid it from happening again. We will continue to monitor this closely. Now, the reason that this is problematic is because Essence, that they just mentioned, at this point in time, is now actually a cryptocurrency. And do not worry, we're going to get to that because they did release their cryptocurrency. But the problem here that they can oversell at all in a game where eventually these transactions are going to be blockchain based and irreversible from the point of Earth 2, like they will not be able to reverse these transactions, is kind of worrying. And I don't think that's a controversial take, even for the E2 community. That's kind of worrying. Now, this next one is a big one that the E2 community and my community alike have all noticed. Over the last year, there have been tons of videos put out by Earth 2 showcasing like a demo of the game and what the game is going to be, things you can do in the game.
And none of them have come out to be things that you can actually do.
A lot of people have criticised that it looks like it is pre-rendered or planned out to be a showcase that does not represent the actual gameplay of the game, despite the developers stating that it is indicative of the gameplay. Now, I'm going to be honest, I died laughing at one of these videos, which I didn't really have any criticisms of the graphics. They were kind of like, okay, cool, whatever, I guess. They weren't great, they weren't terrible. I don't really care. But during these videos, one of the things that everybody pointed out is Earth 2 can never just show something. They have to make a statement that is factually untrue. And in this video, there were two cases of this that people pointed out immediately without me even having to look into it. And I noticed them too. One of them is they have obviously said that there are no loading barriers or loading zones in the Earth 2 metaverse, right? In the 3D world. There is clearly a case in this showcase where a player jumps into an elevator when going into a building and there is loading taking place, right? The elevator works as a loading screen. You are stuck in a little capsule while the outdoor unloads and the indoors loads.
Which, by the way, that is a very standard and common practice. Elevators historically have almost always been loading zones or hidden loading screens. That's why some of the elevator transitions can feel like they take ages. It's like, why is this taking so long? What is going on? It's because it's loading in the background and it hasn't loaded yet. So it's just, keeping you trapped there. This has been going on in games ever since, like, the dawn of video games, basically. Like, ever since the very first elevator.
Because from outdoors, the indoors of the building is a picture, and from the indoors, the outdoors seems to also be a picture. So there has to be some loading taking place there for this to occur. Again, no one cares if there's a loading screen or not, or if that is what's happening. That's
the thing that people care about is the fact that you said there are no loading screens, and then there's very clearly a loading screen.
Pretty standard in gaming. However, it's the fact that it has to be stated that that is happening while people can see that it's not, or state that it isn't happening while people can see that it is. Which brings us on to the big one. In this video, there is...
If they had never said that there are no loading screens, literally nobody would give a fuck. But it's the fact that they stated there are no loading screens and then showed that there are loading screens that people care.
There's a part where they say that they have centimeter accurate collision in the simulation of this game, which again I've never heard any gamer ask for. But to say it is a weird flex. But if they did it, cool, whatever, right? It's a good showcase. However, in true Earth 2,
which, by the way, this kind of thing, like centimeter accurate, all it is going to do is eat up more processing power from your computer to do things that are literally pointless, right? Like, we already have highly accurate collision boxes that you can use. That, just comes standard with, like, Unity or Unreal. That you can just slap onto something and bam, right? And we've got ones that are circular. We've got ones that are cylindrical. We've got ones that are squares and rectangles. This is another example of Earth 2 devs, and Shane Issac specifically, if he is really the one responding, this is another example of him being like, look at all this cool tech that we have created, And then it's just like, this is just stuff that already exists. It's like the whole map is like, oh, we use proprietary tech, and it's like, no, you use Google Maps.
Fashion. The problem here is simple. Literally, as they have it on the screen, telling you that they have millimeter or centimeter, I can't remember, accurate collision, there are marbles telling you that they have millimeter or centimeter.
Literally going through the ground. Literally going through the ground. Literally going through the ground. Look at all these that are literally going through the ground. Literally going through the ground, Shane.
Accurate collision, there are marbles rolling down a hill to demonstrate this, like 20 marbles. At the same time, like 5 of those marbles straight up fall through the floor and do not collide with it. Like, they just clip through the floor. I already know the Earth 2 community are going to say, or the vocal Earth 2 community are going to say, oh, that's so pedantic, that's so picky, why do you care? The reason people care about
The reason people care is because it makes a claim that is provably false immediately.
this, and that they are pointing it out, is you are saying one thing as a fact in your video while simultaneously visually disproving it at the same time. You say X while Y is happening. You could have just not said it, and no one would have cared. They might have laughed a bit, saying, wow, look at these clipping through the floor. But it's more of a clown show when you clearly haven't even watched your own video back after editing it. Because if you did, you would look at that and go, that's a really bad look for us. And then later in the video, you have a scene in the city of this kind of like Halo Pelican looking dropship moving in through the city and straight up just phasing through a massive water tower. Like, on the screen.
This is really funny. How do you miss this? By the way, video proof of why I've not bothered with Earth 2. Like, this shit's just a fucking clown show.
Like, on the screen, right there for you to see.
By the way, also, not only that, but up here, you can see this wing, like, straight up clips through the fucking, like, straight up clips through it. And then, like, the whole plane just clips through it, or whatever it is.
There for you to see. Once again, disproving what you said a minute prior. Now, I asked Earth 2 about this. The recent videos showcasing E2 have had substantial decrease in visual fidelity and texture, notably popping on trees, repeating patterns on the landscape, and mentors only doing a half rotation in their animation before snapping back to a default pose. In comparison to the showcase videos of Earth 2 around 5 months ago, there is a notable decrease in quality. Is there a reason for this? Now, those videos, like I say, the graphics weren't phenomenal, they weren't terrible. But in recent videos that were put out by the Earth 2 team and Shane himself, the quality of the graphics have gotten noticeably worse. And like I say...
Hang on. I admit, I haven't actually looked at Shane Isaac's YouTube channel in a while. Okay, so yeah, that's just a year ago. Let's see, Earth 2. Oh, they actually have put out some pretty recently that I didn't see. As you can tell, I'm not subscribed, so I guess I'll have to look at those.
Repeating textures on the floor that weren't there, popping on trees just being honestly comparable to Crisis 1. Like, it's just, it's like a jump scare, how quickly they pop in. And these aren't even at a large distance from the player. And we know that because the tiles that are being sold are visible on the map. So you can see that a lot of them are between 50 and 60 meters away from the camera in world space and are just horrifically popping in. And their response to this was, thank you for your feedback. Could you please provide us with the videos that you are referring to specifically? It may be the case that what you are looking at are videos that Shane quickly recorded on his laptop, which will naturally have lower quality than when ran on a PC with good graphics cards.
Here's the thing. If he's doing it on a laptop, that's already a red flag. You never, never, never put out a product that is not your best foot. Never, never, never.
Some of the other footage is also recorded on different machines with different settings, especially the output resolution, which may also be the reason you're noticing different results. Additionally, like most game companies, for the biggest
resolution will not affect a so the way like that ship, for example, that clipped through the building, that trajectory was an animation that was set by someone. Someone went into the program, set those lines, set that path for the animation to play, right? And then either it was done after the tower was put there, or it was done before the tower, and then the tower was just put there, right? So here's what went on, right? Is the animation was probably recorded in its own file, okay? The assets were, like the building and the tower, were probably saved in a different file. They loaded both files together, okay? This is standard. I've done this myself, okay? They take the asset from one, they load it into the asset of another, and then they just record it, right? They didn't actually look to check if any of the animations were going to clip through anything. They just said, fuck it, and ran with it. Bad. You never, bad. Bad, Shane. I'm slapping your hand. Bad. That's bad. You don't do that. You always triple check your work.
Showcase footage releases, we of course use a higher end machine at a higher end quality output, like
and the resolution will never affect that, by the way. Your resolution will never affect that. The only thing the resolution affects is how much of the video is shown. That's it.
4K or 5K. The footage Shane shares on X is 1080p, highest quality available. We are not sure about the Mentor rotation changing from full to half. This has us curious now as well. It may be that one of the devs just changed it without telling anyone, but we will certainly look into it. Now, the problem I have with this is Shane stated on Twitter, or X, that the laptop he recorded this on had an integrated 3070 or 3080 GPU, which then begs the question, if the difference from that to whatever higher up you're using, even if you just go from laptop to desktop, if that has such a degradation in quality and visual fidelity, that's going to cause some issues, like some really big issues, because the people that do eventually test this or play this when it comes out, that most of them are crypto bros. They've not got a maxed out gaming PC. And this is also meant to be playable on mobile and AR and VR, as they say. So there's going to be huge issues there if that level of quality drop is happening from a mobile GPU, or sorry, a laptop GPU to a desktop GPU. And
if this is true, and this is like a laptop GPU, and like this is somehow why all of this is happening, right? Putting this on mobile will crash the phone. It will crash the phone.
Even then, those being the highest tiers of those GPUs. And of course, next up, we need to talk about one of the biggest issues that I think is really going to come back and bite Earth 2 in the ass. Like, monumentally. So, my next question to the Earth 2 team was this. Many have criticised the actions in the Earth 2 Discord from the very beginning, stemming from the very heavy-handed moderators choosing to ban users for mildly critical discussions as misinformation, despite their post being posed as a question and not a fact. However, any positive misinformation is left completely unchecked, allowing other users to see a completely false side of Earth 2. This goes for statements such as price predictions, players adamantly stating what a vague update is, and being objectively wrong. The team have allowed rumours of an Nvidia partnership to circulate for the best part of 2 years without ever addressing this, likely because it looks good without Earth 2 having any risk when it doesn't happen. This has created an echo chamber of high-profile users stating objectively false information in the Discord to new and old users alike. Are there any plans to address this?
There should be. All of those users should be banned.
Now, before I get onto their answer, I want to explain why this is such a harmful thing for both Earth 2 and new users that are looking at joining the platform. Essentially, this is setting expectations. It just is. If you look into Earth 2, nobody knows what Earth 2 actually is. This has been a long-running meme ever since I started covering it. Us YouTubers would ask the Earth 2 team and the Earth 2 community, what is the game? Just what is it? And nobody can tell you what it is.
The answer to that question, by the way, is there is no game. There is no actual game in this. All it is a bunch of people buying a fucking 2D, a little bunch of pixels on a 2D plane on a fucking centralized website using decentralized currency and making themselves feel good. That's all they have been doing.
I've heard so many wild things about what this game is going to be, and they are just allowed to run rampant with these, honestly, lies. And people are going to say, well, how do you know they're lies? 90% of them have to be lies because everything I hear is completely wildly different. One day it's going to be like World of Warcraft where you're doing 40-man raids. This week, people seem to think that it's going to be Ark Survival Evolved with modern buildings or futuristic buildings. And when I asked them what makes you think that, Shane said they're adding dinosaurs to Earth 2. The game is slowly
Wasn't Earth 2 supposed to be like Earth but digital? Dinosaurs aren't walking around, Shane.
slipping into just straight up hodgepodge everything game territory. And this is dangerous for Earth 2, despite it not being information coming from them. And the reason for this is, when people start speculating on what the game is going to be negatively or mildly critically, it's removed, they're shunned, there's a witch hunt, they're removed from the Discord, they're muted. But then when someone says, oh, it's going to be Ark Survival Evolved, I'm telling you now. And this is allowed to be perpetuated for months at a time, or years in the case of some, speculation. While Earth 2 isn't saying, yes, that's what this is, they are confirming this in the minds of people by removing what they don't want you to think it is and allowing what they want you to think it is, or what they don't mind you thinking it is, allowing that information to stay. And
by the way, that gameplay that was shown earlier in Calvin's video, let's see, not there. Where is it? No. Oh, this where the lady's running around shooting, like, whatever. Now it's a first-person shooter? Huh?
The Earth 2 community, at least the vocal portion, will say something as simple as, well, just ignore it. Just ignore the speculation. And it's funny that they say that, because this is a road that goes both ways, right? If you don't like the speculation that YouTubers have on this game that has nothing to go off of, like, I truly believe that the team don't even know what it's going to be yet, and they're just fumbling together any idea that may catch attention from someone. But if you look at it,
they are adding features and things to the game based off of the positive speculation. And in doing so, they have doomed Earth 2. They might have a diehard fans and all that, but because of the direction that Shane is taking it, because, let's be clear here, Shane is the CEO. Shane decides which direction this game goes. And he has allowed it to go in this direction where literally no one knows what this thing is supposed to be. That's not good. Now, I'm going to be honest, I had kind of hoped that he had like an actual conversation with him, and I'm really disappointed in Shane that isn't what happened.
and you have to speculate, which you have to because no one knows what it's going to be. You have to take the good with the bad. If people think this is going to be a monumental flop because it looks like a hodgepodge of half-baked cookies all in one jar, rather than a holistic experience, which this is kind of how bad this gets. Because here's something that kind of needs to be said. What Earth 2 have shown so far is mini demos of what I wouldn't call games, but experiences inside one world, such as a shooter experience, which I'm going to show on screen, where they've showcased recently, where you just shoot orbs that float around and a point on a scoreboard just goes up. That's it. And people are like, oh, this is to target the shooter audience. Okay, cool. If someone likes shooters, they are going to go and play a holistic experience of a shooter. They're going to go play Halo Infinite. They're going to go
play Call of Duty. They're not going to come play this.
Play Call of Duty. They're going to play Apex Legends. Yeah. Because there's rumors that there's also going to be an RTS in there as well. If someone wants to play an RTS, they're going to go play StarCraft. They're going to go play some other RTS, right?
You have to remember, this is supposed to be the metaverse, right? This is supposed to be Ready Player One. You're supposed to be able to play anything here.
Play a holistic experience that fulfills the need that they are looking for. There seems to be this misconception, and this is another create the problem, sell the solution type deal, which is, but you can't play all of them together. Right, okay, but no one is looking to play all of them together. I will be sat there playing RuneScape, and then one of my friends in RuneScape will be like, do you want to go play Halo? And I'll be like, yeah, let's go play Halo. We want to play a shooter, so we go and play a shooter. You don't need to bring in my Bandos Godsword from RuneScape into a shooter to have that be fun. It is not a need. So if...
Well, it's not fun because it's a sword in a shooter game. You would want to bring in, like, your Armadillo crossbow, or your Armadillo bow, or, you know, one of the... your crystal bow, right? You'd want something that has range. Like, you don't want to bring a sword to a gunfight? Like, come on, Callum. Come on.
Every game that they're putting in here is a half-baked, nothing source experience in comparison to what is out there offered for free. People just...
You want to know a thing that does exactly what Earth 2 is trying to do? Here, let me bring it up real quick. Core games. Now, this is something that you can download. It's a game you can download. And you can make your own game within it. And you can make your own assets. You can make armor, weapons, equipment, everything. You can make entire game modes and games in this for free. And you know what else? You can sell those and earn money from it. Yeah, you can do exactly what Earth 2 is trying to do right now for free with Core.
Aren't going to play it. I'm sorry, and this isn't me speculating. So, this is just me saying.
Why? Here's my question. Why would I go play Earth 2 to do any of this when I can go and play Earth 1 for free and do all of this? That's my question. That as a consumer, that is my question. Is why should I go to Earth 2 when Core does all of this infinitely better, all for free? Right? I don't have to pay anything to do it.
The modern gamers that you need to target with Earth 2, because they need the modern gamers. And this is another problem. For Earth 2 to have a sustained ecosystem, because currently the investors are all there to take money out, to take more out than they put in. For that extra amount of money to come out, somebody needs to be foregoing that money. Money needs to go in with no intention of that money coming out.
You know what that's called? Called a pyramid scheme.
And that is going to be the gamers. In their ecosystem they've proposed, that will be the gamers. Putting money in to play the game, and then the investors being able to cash out on that long term. I know for now there's investor money and whatever, but investors aren't going to want their money to just be pissed away or pissed up a wall. Like, it needs to make money in the long term, which needs permanent investment from gamers. But here's the problem. Gamers are not going to gravitate towards what is being shown or offered or proposed.
Here's the thing, right? So, to be clear, it's not a pyramid scheme. At least it doesn't seem like one, right? I'm not accusing it of being one, is what I'm saying. However, the thing you have to remember, right, is they want this to be a, like, earn while you play kind of thing, right? You can play the game and you can earn real money. That's sort of the idea, right? Here's the thing, right? If you have gamers and you want the hardcore gamers, because make no mistake about it, they need not just gamers, they need hardcore gamers. They need people who will stick with this through thick and thin, through and through, and just shell out money. They need people like the Star Citizens, right? Like Star Citizen. They needed those kind of gamers. They don't have that. And what they've shown, they will never have that.
And I think that's going to be a really big hurdle for Earth 2, because that is going to be the make or break. They need to reach a critical mass of people putting money in and not taking it out. And as it stands right now, with everything that's proposed, their inclusion of crypto has already wiped out 80% of their target audience, which is the gamers. They're gone.
Yeah, because gamers don't give a fuck about your crypto. Your crypto is fucking useless. It's meaningless. It has literally zero value. Why should we give a fuck about your crypto? My dollar? You say your Bitcoin is worth this much, but when I take my dollar into the store, I can get half a candy bar. If I take your Bitcoin into the store, I can't get shit.
They've packed up shop and left. And the remaining gamers, you need to convince them that this is a game that has worth to it, value. And I'm not talking monetary. In fact, you need these gamers to not want to make money off the game. Every time I speak to the Earth 2 community about this issue, I get the same nonsense answer when I say, why will a gamer choose this game over other games? Because they can make money off it. No, it doesn't work that way. You can't have everybody making money off of this. This whole passive income nonsense does not work. It doesn't work. No. There is no passive income in this game.
This is why a lot of, like, money-making guides, this is why a lot of people hate them in, like, video games and whatnot, is because someone will discover a trick to earn, like, I don't know, 5 billion in gold an hour in RuneScape, right? And they'll post it online, and then that video will get 100 million views or whatever. And then all of those people are now going and doing that thing, causing all of those prices to tank, to absolutely implode. Very, very few times is it going to be a situation where you can release this, like, money-making guide and it is just perpetually forever a good thing, right? Like, one thing you can do that is always going to make you money, it takes an exceedingly long time to make any substantial amount of money, but buying logs off of the GE, fletching them into arrow shafts, then buying feathers and attaching those feathers to the shafts, and then selling those feathered arrow shafts. Now this takes hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. It takes so long that you can buy the max amount after the you can buy the max amount again before you finish your first batch, right? Like, that's how long this takes. It's painful how long, but you can make an enormous amount of money if you do it. But getting back to this conversation, it's like you can't have you can't advertise this thing as like everyone can earn money, because then everyone's going to come and try and earn money and not put any money in, and then you're going to lose all your money.
For half of the people to be making passive income, half of the people need to be paying that passive income.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's get on to the answer from the team. We acknowledge the concerns raised regarding the moderation of the E2 Discord, and as you may be aware, we have been transitioning to a new community management team over the last 12 months or so. And it's important to understand that during this time, there were challenges in maintaining consistent communication and moderation standards. Our new community management team is dedicated to improving transparency and ensuring that all discussions are fair and balanced.
You know what they need to do? They need to go back and remove all the other misinformation. All of the positive misinformation, every single message needs to be deleted. Every single one. And this is very easy to do. You can do it with a bot. I've done it myself. You can do it with the bot. There's a bot out there. I forget what it's called because I haven't used it in forever and I don't have it anymore. But there's a bot out there that you can use it. You can tell it which words you want it to delete and how far back. If you don't put a specific time, it just deletes every single message with that word.
However, there may be inconsistencies in how information was managed, including the handling of critical discussion and the oversight of positive misinformation. Our team is continually working on implementing clearer guidelines for moderation to ensure that both critical and positive discussion are treated fairly. We are also committed to addressing rumours and misinformation more promptly to prevent the spread of false information. Earth-2's goal has always been to create a safe, open and honest environment where players can engage in constructive discussion and receive reliable information about Earth-2. In addition to this, we have on occasion reached out to people, even some who post videos on social media, to ensure that they are sharing the correct information. So we do ask that any information shared on social media be factually accurate, even when the intention is to talk up the project. With regards to your comment about Nvidia, we speak with a lot of people in the industry, and we felt it would be better to not say anything as opposed to hyping up the project. So you have our intentions wrong on that one. So clearly Earth-2 are aware that this Discord echo chamber is a big problem. I mean, the harsh reality, which I find quite funny, is while these vocal Earth-2 minority are lying to boost, you know, bump up their bags and boost the project's visibility, they're actually doing harm in the long run. Because what happens is people see what they're claiming, they will come to the project, and then the things that were promised aren't there. And that reflects badly on Earth-2. Even though Earth-2 didn't say it, they will just lose a lot of potential people from that. So, I mean, yeah. I trawl through the Earth-2 Discord on a daily basis because it is a morbid fascination of mine. The things I see said in there, it's some of the wildest stuff. Just absolutely bonkers. And it's always the same 10 culprits, right? It is the same 10 people who have kind of convinced themselves that because they are the only ones talking about Earth-2 in a positive light, that they are Earth-2. And that everything they says is kind of like the all-encompassing echo chamber. But what's happening here is you need to look at the amount of users Earth-2 has and how many are actually vocal. Because I'm not calling them a vocal minority to throw shade their way or anything like that. It is just a fact that the vocal members of the Earth-2 community are a very, very, very small minority. They are a drop in the ocean. For every person that is vocal in the Earth-2 Discord, there are hundreds, if not thousands of people that are not. For every one that is. But I digress. Now, the last thing I want to touch on is something that I asked them about crypto. Because yes, they released a crypto recently, and I have been on Twitter talking about the fact that the crypto has been kind of falling off a cliff face. And the Earth-2 people seem to really, and I'm not talking about Earth-2 themselves, I'm talking about the Earth-2 community, seem to absolutely hate the fact that I'm talking about their crypto essence. Now, what I find funny here is they were the ones who kept saying, oh, crypto's about to launch next week, can guarantee Cal won't talk about it. Basically saying like, you know, oh, that'll shut him up. He'll have nothing negative to say about that. So then I talk about it, and they're now angry that I talk about it. And every time that I mention about the fact that the price reflects interest, right?
Yes, it does.
People say, but the whole crypto market's going down.
It's not. Well, actually, that's not true. It is, to an extent.
But this coin, look at this coin, that's gone down the same amount. And I'm thinking, right, okay, but we're talking about Earth-2 specifically. Like, we're talking about the fact that there are huge Earth-2 essence holders that are dumping massive amounts, or had dumped massive amounts. That shows sentiment. And I know I don't need to explain this to you guys. I'm not going to try and mansplain to you. You understand what I'm saying here. if they want to take the wins and say, oh, look, Essence has gone up, they can't ignore the losses of, well, Essence has now gone down 3 times as much as it went up yesterday. You have to take the wins with the losses and look at it objectively. So I asked the team about this.
I mean, yeah, and when you look at it objectively, right? Let's see, 43.38.
It's something that I asked them about crypto. I digress hundreds because yeah.
When you look at it objectively, right? Like this is where it started, just above 14 cents, right? Now it's less than 8 cents, right? Like you look at this objectively, it's done nothing but go down. Interest and demand in this has just only gone down. It's pretty wild.
Today, you have to take the wins with the losses and look at it objectively. So I asked the team about this. Why did the team choose to release Essence during a crypto crash despite stating that they were absolutely not going to do it as it would look bad? Many claim it is to resolve the withdrawal issues for now, but it currently doesn't, as Earth dollars cannot be translated into Essence via any means. And this is another thing. A lot of people are saying, well, the withdrawal issues don't matter because they've added crypto, so you can put crypto in and out. Yes, you can do that, but the problem is you can't translate your real-world money balance that you put into Earth 2 into Essence. That money is still stuck. So this is not a solution to the problem at all. It quite literally does nothing to solve it. And Earth 2...
The reason why is because those accounts, since withdrawals are frozen, those funds aren't allowed to go anywhere.
Team responded, hindsight is always 2020. If you look back at history, you will always see when something could or should have occurred. Having said that, we launched Earth 2's utility token Essence at a time we were advised to, shortly after the Bitcoin halving event. We did expect the markets to remain more calm during this period, but even taking the recent market conditions into consideration, we feel it's not doing too bad. As Shane has mentioned a number of times online, we're always expecting a
It's literally down 50% from where it started.
Transition period where players have been mining Essence for over 3 years and would sell once the token launches. There have been many also eagerly scooping up Essence as others sell it as well. We expect this transition to go on for some time longer, and hopefully the timing with our launch allows this transition to take place as we lead into possible better market conditions later this year or early next year. One final thing I'd like to point out is that the Essence token is completely player traded. So it's organic supply and demand you are seeing in the external trade of Essence, and not propped up trades we often see from other projects.
That's not good. That's even worse. That means that your players are actively getting less interested in it.
I understand this can change for good and bad, but as of today, the 12th of July 2024, even with a 24-hour drop in our token price, the following statement has been copied and pasted from CoinGecko and shows the Essence token is significantly outperforming the global crypto market. With a price increase of 22.3% in the last 7 days, Earth 2 Essence is outperforming the global cryptocurrency market, which is up 3.5%, while outperforming when compared to similar Ethereum ecosystem currencies, which are up 12.7%. Now, while at the time of recording this, that statement on CoinGecko is true. I looked at it back then. I actually forgot to get a screenshot, but yes, it did say that. The problem is, from everything I can see, CoinGecko doesn't dispute between shitcoins, rug pulls, and utility and stable coins, right? Or within the Ethereum ecosystem. The problem is Earth 2 is like here on the timeline, right? On the kind of performance line. And then you've got a slew of things behind it that are rug pull coins, shit coins, meme coins, and the problem is the statistics here are being slightly propped up by a lot of those shit coins that were never meant or never going to actually go anywhere other than down. So, I don't know. I'm a bit unclear on this because that statistic doesn't really hold any value in my eyes.
And it shouldn't. It shouldn't hold any value in anyone's eyes because the data is diluted with a lot of inaccurate information, right? Because like all these rug pulls, their price tanks because they're a rug pull, right? And then that data just gets thrown in with all the other data, and it's going to make it look better.
But they're not wrong. I think a lot of this problem comes from...
No, it is wrong.
All the Earth...
This is where I disagree. It is wrong. Like, CoinGecko is just factually wrong. Rug pulls aren't actually a part of the ecosystem at all. They don't actually truly affect the way the crypto market works, right? All it does is it changes the percentages to make Earth-2 look better. It's absolutely wrong.
2 YouTubers that have just put out the wildest claims that have been kind of perpetuated as fact. Earth-2 will launch at $10. It'll be no lower than $1 after the first week. And it could even possibly be around the $50 to $100 mark per coin. This is the problem, because the community set themselves up to fail. They set these expectations. They drag people into the project, and then they just show a flaccid penis. And that is what has happened here. And this is why I talk about the whole Earth-2 community will be an accelerant for the death of this project. They will, because they're not doing any good by perpetuating nonsense like that. Now, in addition to all this, Earth-2 have posted an update regarding their withdrawal problems, and they said that there is going to be an update on their plans to resolve it by around the 31st of July. Now, they've not actually proposed... I don't know anything about their plans. I don't know what they aim to do to...
Shane. Earth-2 isn't dying. Earth-2 is dead. I would honestly not be surprised if there was a FTC lawsuit soon about all these frozen funds, because this is starting to look very similar to the Sigmund Freud situation. Not exact, because his was an actual pyramid scheme. However, you have a lot of customers' money that you are not releasing. You are allowing them to give you more money, and you are not actually showing any progress towards this game that you have sworn is in development. Like,
temporary fix or resolve this, but if it's not withdrawing your money one-to-one as it was, it's not going to be a satisfactory fix, because it will go against what people were told they could do when they put their money in. But that is yet to be seen, so we will be seeing what their plans on that are very shortly. But yeah.
Let me, real quick, Shane Issac Twitter. Okay. So, this is his pinned comment. Okay. Let's see. As promised. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Okay. Nothing about the... Yeah, okay. Okay. Yeah, no, yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. Yeah, nothing about the players' money. Now, if we go to this, let's see, scheduled maintenance, and nothing about the money, 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 nothing about the money. Ooh, this is not looking good. There's nothing on Shane or Earth-2's actual page about the money. Where's the money? Where's the CoffeeZilla video? I want to see the coffee. You know there's going to be CoffeeZilla videos coming.
That's it. A lengthy recap of kind of what's been going on with Earth-2, updates, and I may make another video covering stuff as they apparently have a beta coming out soon, a closed alpha test of their 3D world, and I mean, hey, with this one, I'm going to let the product speak for itself. I do not have high hopes. I genuinely don't. From what I've seen, I don't have high hopes, but I think that whatever happens in this alpha, closed alpha, even though it's NDA'd, it is going to get out there. It will get out there. People will go to YouTubers. They will show them what's going on. If there's just a catastrophic amount of bugs, people will find out about that. If there are systems that make no sense, people will find out. And yeah, I'm interested to see what happens with that. But yeah, ladies and gents, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have enjoyed this video. As always, a massive, massive thank you to the patrons. You guys are legendary. Cannot thank you enough. And a quick reminder, if you guys want to get some of these absolutely awesome t-shirts, link is down in the description below to...
Yeah, absolutely amazing video. So... This isn't good, Shane. It's really, really not. I hope you see Callum's video. I hope you see mine. Because you seem to at least take some kind of, some of the criticism that I give you. This is not good. You need to figure this out immediately. Fix the withdrawal problem immediately. And then... focus on putting out this 3D project. It's been 2 years since I last did a video on it, since Callum did a video on it, since a lot of people did videos on this, and you were already several years into the production of it, and there's still nothing to show for it. Bruh! Shane. What I've seen here looks like a PlayStation 2, maybe early PlayStation 3, right? That's the level of graphics we're working with. God, Shane, you really fix the withdrawals before a CoffeeZilla video comes out, because if a CoffeeZilla video comes out, it's gonna be really, really bad for you. I promise. Okay. So anyways, thank you all for coming to my corner. As always, I've been the DM, and I will see you all next time.